Hello, Dr. Ronda Hampton, licensed clinical psychologist. First of all, I want to state very clearly that our efforts here today are to expedite the search for Mitirce Richardson. My relationship with Mitirce Richardson is that she was in her senior year at Cal State University Fullerton, as she was a psychology major. She completed her what we call field placement at my office. Upon graduation, I continued to have a relationship with her and continued to serve as a mentor to her as she was preparing to go to graduate school. So that was her plan. On Friday, September 17th, I received a phone call from her mother stating to me that Mitirce Richardson had gone missing and that she was concerned that there had not been a search for her. She was concerned that her daughter was out there and that she was concerned about her mental state. At that point, which was about 7 o'clock on Friday evening, there had not been a search. I called the detective who was in charge of the case at the time. I indicated to her that I was concerned about Mitirce Richardson's mental state based on the conversation that I had with her mother, as well as based on the fact that on her Facebook there was some unusual comments that she was making. At that time, the detective did indicate to me that the original officers involved in the case were also concerned about her mental state. She indicated to me that the officers involved attempted to get Joffrey's restaurant not to file any type of arrest against this young woman because of their concern that she might be suffering some type of mental health issues. Why they chose not to get any type of evaluation of her, the detective on the case was not able to supply me with that information. She was unsure. But clearly she did state to me that there were indications from the police officers involved in the case at that time that Ms. Richardson was acting very odd. Subsequent to that conversation, there was a search done on the Saturday, the 18th, and that went on from about 10 o'clock in the morning to about 6:37 in the evening. Sunday, there was no further search. Monday, there was no further search. Tuesday, there was no further search. My next conversation with the detective was approximately Monday, and at which time she gave me more specific information that occurred at that restaurant. She indicated to me that there were reports that Mrs. Richardson's behavior was already observed as strange even prior to entering that restaurant. That she had arrived alone, that she had approached the valet and actually sat in somebody's car, that the valet was, I'm not sure what the valet was doing with the car, but that she was in the car with the valet, that she was flipping through some CDs, and that the valet described her behavior as very unusual and very odd. In any case, she entered the restaurant, although the valet was attempting to get her not to, but she entered that restaurant and she sat down with a table of 6 people whom she did not know. She began talking about being Mother Nature and being at one with the universe. She began talking about their astrological signs and giving predictions, I guess, of their astrological signs. She began talking about being from Mars. She began speaking in a very incoherent language, and the patrons at that restaurant were very, very concerned with her. And that information was provided to the officers involved in the case, and they knew that information prior to taking her down to that jail. At that point, it was their obligation to protect this woman, and they should have called whatever organization that they should have got in touch with. In LA, it could have been the SMART team, and it could have been the PET team, it could have been the mobile response team. They're called different things depending on the jurisdiction. However, it's all the same. They also could have taken that woman themselves and driven her down to get psychologically evaluated. So I'm not saying that they needed to diagnose, because no, I do not believe that they're equipped to diagnose. However, when they go on record and they are saying that she did not suffer any type of mental illness, in my opinion, that's just as well as giving a diagnosis, which in my opinion is out of their scope of practice. At this point, my concern is about her safety and her welfare, and I want her returned, and I want to find out what happened to this young woman, and I want to find out now. I have nothing else.